Today's episode of the Bleav in Steelers show is brought to you by betonline.ag. The Steelers are slight favorites against the Raiders on Christmas Eve. If you want to place a bet on any of the Week 16 NFL action, betonline.ag is the place to do it.
365, 24/7, regardless on what sport, regardless on what time it is. Make sure y'all go to betonline.ag.
You can see the website on your screen and our promo code. That's BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online where the game starts. All right, cue the music. It's time to start the show. Welcome to the Bleav in Steelers show on the Bleav Network. I'm your host, Mark Bergin, joined by my guy, two-time Super Bowl champion, 12-year veteran, and Pittsburgh Steelers scout, number 24, Ike Taylor. IT, starting today's show on a little bit more of a somber note, you were in the building at the Steelers facility when news broke about Franco Harris' passing. The legendary running back died at the age of 72. That's where I want to start today's show. What was your reaction upon hearing this news, IT?
Couldn't believe it. Caught it like 6 o'clock in the morning. Just retiring his jersey for the 50th anniversary between the Raiders and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Talking about the Immaculate Reception, and you get a text early in the morning that Franco Harris died. So it's like it's like, man, stop playing. And he was like, why the hell I'm gonna play like this? So But just to hear, just to see the city embrace Franco, just to see the Steeler Nation embrace Franco, just all around the world. So when I was leaving from the airport, of course, when you drop down in the city of Pittsburgh at the airport, you know, they have Franco's Immaculate Reception as a statue as soon as you come down the escalators. So they wound up moving the statue up on the main floor around the Christmas tree. And just to see all the flowers, the cards, the thank yous, just to see people taking pictures, which they always do. But it's a different kind of time to take a picture around that immaculate statue at the airport in Pittsburgh for Franco. And just sitting down, I wound up sitting down in the restaurant and hearing the young lady saying how she served Franco, his wife, and his son, and how cool and how humble of a person he was in the family. But, you know, I got to see them in person. And I got to talk to Franco with the inductee between Alan Faneca and Troy and Donnie Shell down in Miami a couple of years ago. And that was like my first time really talking to him. I talked to Mel Blount all the time when I seen him, but you know, he's on the defensive side. So of course, even I talked to Rocky Bleav a lot. I think me and Rocky probably talked the most out of anybody. But just sitting down and talking to Franco with the little soft voice, he was I just asked him why he didn't, or why they didn't come around as often. And they said, man, you know, we had our time. We didn't want to hit y'all spotlight, but we love what y'all doing right now. Y'all making us relapse, and we were seeing what we did back in the day when I was in my time between 2003 and let's say 2011 when Pittsburgh defense was really popping. And I was like, nah, we really wanted y'all presence around us because y'all started this, Franco. And he was kind of in awe, like, for real? Was like, yeah, we want to feel what y'all feel. We want to breathe the same air y'all breathe. We just want to be around y'all because without the greatness what y'all did in the 70s, it wouldn't be a such thing as a Pittsburgh Steelers in a dynasty. So we just had some good moments. We had a hell of a time. I think we talked for like an hour and a half, you know, and that's the longest I probably ever talked to a former 70 Hall of Fame Steeler, you know. So just talking to Franco, but just hearing the other stories, you know, it's always refreshing when you hear other people talk about Franco, even though I got to see Franco a lot. Franco, for me, was Unc. And what I mean by Unc is somebody who has done something, a pioneer of something before you. You know, you always want to mimic you always wanted to get the Super Bowls like them. Them boys got 4 Super Bowls back in the 70s. We fell two Super Bowls short, but we added 2 more to it in our time frame. So, but without them, it wouldn't be a Pittsburgh Steelers dynasty. It wouldn't be a Pittsburgh Steelers nation. We're famous, and one of the historic moments in the NFL period is that Immaculate Reception, and it comes off the hands and the feet of Franco Harris. So it was a sad moment. It's a sad week for the Steelers nation. To lose somebody like him of his caliber, to be one of the greats at that time in the 70s. But he will forever be remembered. He will forever be missed. One of the reasons why we have that museum now in Acrisure Stadium. I don't know if people know, but Mr. Art and Franco were very close. So big shout out, much prayers to, Franco Harris and his family, his wife and his son. Prayers to Mr. Art as well. But yeah, just to see them 6 Lombardis going on the second floor at that facility on the south side, just to see the Steelers pictures, just to see the wall of fame, not even the Hall of Fame that he's in, but the Wall of Fame on the second floor on the south side at the Pittsburgh Steelers facility with the running backs. Franco was just different. He was just different, but more of a gentle human than anything. And I keep telling myself all my life, damn near half of my life, because I got to Pittsburgh in my early 20s, man, I just been surrounded by greatness, whether it's from my owner, the GM, a coach, or former players, So God has truly blessed me to be around angels, So whether they up there visiting him or living with him now, whether they down on earth, I've just been so blessed and so fortunate to be around good people like him, especially Franco. I talk about all the time, there's good people, there's great people, and there's just good souls, people with good souls, and that's Franco. Franco has a good soul. You can pretty much ask anybody. So he would give you his last, without even thinking twice about it. So it was always about others. It was never about him. And then when you reflect back into what the 70s Steelers dynasty was doing, they always felt, they had to do it for each other. Then what kind of accolade they was getting individually, it just worked out that, there was Hall of Famers and they wound up having good accolades as well individually. So Franco truly will be missed. I caught me 3 angels. So I got Mama Rooney, Papa Rooney, and I got Franco, looking down on me. So that's how I look at it. I thought about that last night. So that's how I'm looking at it.
Ike, when you talk to your son Ivan in like 20 years and you talk about the conversation you had with Franco Harris down in Miami, I Bleav it was for the Super Bowl. What's the takeaway that you're going to share, and what are you going to remember from that legendary dinner with a lot of the Steelers greats?
Well, you don't really take it. You don't really take it for granted until they pass, because you see them all the time. For people to see Franco, Mel, Rocky, Terry, Swan, Starworth, to see them, all the time. You don't really take it for granted. You're like, they just part of the boys. They unks to me. I get to see them a lot. Especially when we have still events, they always come back. So, for others, they living legends. They rock stars. So you kind of take it for granted. Like, dang, I've been around a rock star my whole life. I ain't even know it. I just thought it was part of the family. Which he is just part of the family, which they are just part of the family. So my son, he's going through that. He's going through that phase right now. The stage ain't too big for him because he's been around, the Troy Polamalu's, the James Ferriers, the James Harrisons, the Big Bens, the Pounceys, the Jerome Bettis, the Deuce Staley's, the Hines Wards, the Joey Porters, the Casey Hamptons, the Brian McFadden's, the Will Gays, the Shea Townsends, the Alan Fanekas. He's been around. He's been to the Heath Millers. He's been around them people.
Yeah.
They call him uncle. They call him nephew. So, later on down the line, the more Hall of Famers that we get, when I was playing, then he might be like, oh, okay, I see they was that important. But for him, that's uncle, So just like in my mind frame, the 70 Steelers, I've been around them so long because they come around a lot. It was just part of the family, and for my son, until something happens, they just part of the family, in my generation. So that's just how I look at it, coming from my son's perspective.
Ike, I want to give a little bit of historic perspective here. So Harris set to be only the third Steelers player in the franchise's history to have his jersey retired. Ernie Stautner's number 70 in 1964 and Mean Joe Green, the number 75 in 2014. Right. Again, Harris's commemoration set to be on 50 years since the Immaculate Reception, one of the greatest plays in NFL history. On Friday, the NFL Network's going to have a documentary, A Football Life, in honor of Harris. So the timing of this is just, it's tragic. Right. It's very, very sad. But again, you think of dozens of Hall of Fame players that the Steelers have had, and the Steelers don't retire jersey numbers. Now, there are certain numbers that are really unofficially retired. I think of guys like, say, Troy Polamalu. There are several others.
No 43.
Yeah.
Nobody wearing no 43.
But again, officially, Harris set to become only the third Steelers in franchise history. Yeah. And you mentioned, when your boots on the ground, when you fly into Pittsburgh, that's one of the first things that you see. And everything Correct. I read about Harris, Ike, and I can go through the accomplishments of more than 1,200 career rushing yards. That's 15th all time. It was third all time when he retired. He made 9 Pro Bowls in 13 seasons, a 4-time Super Bowl champion, member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But everything I've read about Franco, it's his humility, his humbleness, and his kindness as well off the field is what people really take away for those that knew him.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was, his kindness, and I hope people ain't take that for granted, but a lot of people do, but he didn't know any better. Franco ain't know no better. Franco just thought that's how people should act, just normal. Franco didn't even know he wasn't normal in a lot of people's eyes, man. You're a rock star, you're a legend, you're superhuman, so but that's just the kind of person he was. I can't really get in depth with it, just off of the moments I spent with him, very soft-spoken. Will give you the clothes off his back. That's just what he was. He was a man of the people, so he's at a better place right now. So he did his time. When a good man call you and say time is spent well done, regardless of whether we like it or not. And yeah, it's bittersweet. This week will be bittersweet for the Rooney family, but especially for the Steeler Nation. Supposed to retire his jersey, and we talking about this is only the third jersey. I don't even know how many Hall of Fames. I think it's 29 guys in the Hall of Fame for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and only 3 got their jersey retired from the city and the organization of Pittsburgh. That's saying how important Franco was or Franco is to that city. So just a lot of greatness. We can go with the terrible tower. We can go with the great Myron Cope. We can go with the great Dan and Art Rooney. We can go with the great Franco, Myron, Mama Rooney. It's just a lot of when I be saying this, a lot of greatness I've been surrounded by. Mark, it's been a lot of greatness I've been surrounded by. Franco is definitely one of those.
And I want to go to the Immaculate Reception in 1972 really quickly. So that was not only just the first Steelers playoff win in the franchise's existence, it was also the first touchdown in Pittsburgh Steelers history, because the only other playoff game that the Steelers played in was in 1947. Steelers got shut out in that game. So the historic significance really helped kick off that 1970s decade, one of the most elite franchises in dynasties in all of sports. Now, remember, in 1972, they beat the Raiders, but they lost in the next round to the Dolphins in a game that was played in Pittsburgh, despite the fact that that was the 72 Dolphins team. That is the only undefeated team in NFL history. And remember, the next season in 1973, Ike, the Raiders knocked off the Steelers in the playoffs. It wasn't until 74 to when the Steelers got their first Super Bowl title. But that was the first taste of playoff success for a franchise that had been dormant for decades. And it was Mean Joe Green, it was Franco Harris, and a lot of the other greats, but it was that play that was really the catalyst to sparking what became the 1970 Steelers and one of all of sports' best dynasties.
Yeah, we got hope. That catch was we got hope. I think that was running back Frenchie Fuqua.
Yes, sir.
They got hit and it came off Frenchie. And, Franco's, Johnny on the spot. Right place, right time. Caught it. But yeah, that was definitely the spark plug to the Pittsburgh Steelers dynasty.
Yeah, Ike, and I just hope that it's going to be more of a memorial and a commemoration. And I just hope Franco gets his due looking up from above this weekend and everything. And I was at the gym yesterday morning when Sal Paolantonio came on ESPN, and I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it.
Yeah, it was a shock to everybody, especially what's about to happen this weekend.
Absolutely. And we'll go on and move on because I thought we were going to be talking today about Kenny Pickett due to return from a concussion, set to play, should say, against the Raiders. Let me fix that super really quickly, Ike. But Kenny Pickett coming back from a concussion, his second in 8 weeks. There we go. I got that fixed. And I hate to even put this out there, the elephant in the room, because it hasn't happened yet, because this could very well not happen. But I do have some concern if Kenny Pickett were to get a third concussion in a single season. I have concerns there. I'm just going to leave that at that. And again, there's a possibility Kenny Pickett could play the next 10, 15, 20 years and not have a concussion. But it is a concern that I have, and it's something that, again, it's kind of the elephant in the room, and I can't help but wonder.
Yeah, you should, Mark. What's going down with these quarterbacks? They're really not getting hit to be concussed. They're getting slammed to be concussed. Their heads are hitting the grass or turf to get concussed. And it just raised a lot of questions on the helmets, just rewinding when we were playing football, how we were hitting. Yeah, the helmets were a little bit heavier. And you really saw somebody get concussed because it was a helmet-to-helmet hit. But to see, these guys, helmets tapping the ground, getting concussed, or a shoulder pad even coming at a full force, getting concussed, it kind of raised some question marks. But what I do like about the NFL nowadays, especially about with the Tua incident, we all have our understanding and our opinions on that situation. 2 games, less than 5 days. It brings a lot of awareness, and player safety has to be even heightened. Sometimes you have to police the player, because the player gonna play whether he want to play or not. Whether you clear him or whether you don't clear him, he gonna want to play. And I took my hat off to Riverboat Ryan, the Washington Commanders head coach, for not allowing Chase Young to hop out there as much as he wanted to. He said, "No, I'm more concerned about your safety and your health than getting on the field and helping us win." And that comes from a coach who played in this league, so he totally understands. So other coaches, they just might want to win. They might not have that kind of understanding, but I will forever tip my hat off to Coach Riverboat Ryan when it comes down to understanding players' health. For Pickett, he passed all the qualifications. He passed all the tests. If he's playing this weekend, we talked about Pickett learning how to scramble. Now it's time for Pickett to learn how to slide. Go it on and make that executive decision. If you feel like somebody's coming down the pipeline, duck. Give me a Peyton Manning all day. Because I remember Peyton and Eli, if they felt like somebody was coming down the pipeline, they'll go on, fall on the ground. And you can call them what you won't call them. By the end of the day, call them smart, because they played as long as they played for a reason and been successful as long as they've been successful for a reason. They ain't taking them hits. We're going to make all the throws we need to make. I will adjust pre-snap. So say when you talk about the Mannings, before I take a dang hit coming from one of y'all linebackers or defensive linemen. So, but yeah, that's all Pickett need to do. I think the NFL, since the Tua situation, they had to heighten their awareness on what's going on with this player safety, and they got to understand now, man. I don't care if the doctor do clear you. By the end of the day, the coach still have the green light to say he can play or not. So I'm liking where Pittsburgh is going with this. But yeah, Kenny is playing. When Kenny plays, Kenny gives the Pittsburgh Steelers a better option on winning the ball game. I mean, it's just obvious. You're just starting to see that the last 3-4 games. He's turning into what we think he should be.
I'm with you there, Ike. No more fake slides either. It worked at Pitt in college. No fake slides. But
no fake slide.
Ike, I can't help but wonder too. So Trubisky's under contract for the 2023 season. Mason Rudolph is likely gone. Right. How the Steelers address the quarterback position. It's something I've got my eye on, whether it's, do you do that through the draft? Do you pick up someone in free agency? Do you bring someone back like maybe a Josh Dobbs? It's something I'm keeping an eye on. And again, that comes with prefacing the fact of you got to keep Kenny Pickett healthy. And I'm on record saying this, and I'll say it yet again. I'd love to see the Steelers get a bodyguard for Kenny Pickett to say, hey, this is the lineman you're going to be paired with for the next decade plus. That's where I land with that. So he's got to do some things to protect himself, no doubt. But for me, a successful rest of the season was let's keep Kenny Pickett healthy out there because I want to see what he can do. And Ike, it's things that don't show up in the stat sheet. I look at that Atlanta game and the clock management late in the game and the decision-making to keep the ball in bounds, to slide, to avoid turnovers, to avoid taking a hit on your throwing shoulder, to pin the Falcons deep in their own territory with less than 40 seconds left, and they've got to go the full length of the field to get a field goal. It's the small things that don't show up in a stat sheet, but it's the difference between winning and losing at the quarterback position. It's not the flashy throws, but it's marginal, but it's the difference between winning and losing in this league.
Yeah, for a quarterback, especially a franchise quarterback, winning is staying healthy. So at all costs, you know. If he was a Josh Allen 2-something and some change, 6'5", 250, then maybe he might play a little reckless. But there's only one Josh Allen in the league, so protect yourself. And right now, just with this transition going from college to the first year in the pros, we definitely need you, Kenny. So protect yourself.
Yeah, and it's going to be frigid, Ike, too, because around 8 degrees with the wind chill at -4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were just there in Pittsburgh too, Ike. You played there for 12 years too. So.
I left just in time because I think now it's 2 feet of snow that came down in less than 15 hours.
My brother in Kansas City, Ike, I just have to mention this. He said it's the coldest temperature of his life since the polar vortex. I think that was back in 2014. You remember the polar vortex?
Oh, yeah, it's real out there. It's real out there, man. Hey, Mark, it's real out there, bro. It's real, bro.
All right, Ike, keys to the game. For me, it's slowing down this Raiders offense. You can't let the playmakers go in, and here's what I'm talking about. Josh Jacobs out of the backfield, and then Darren Waller at the tight end position. Davante Adams among the best receivers in the league. It's a concern that I have with Davante Adams, considering what A.J. Brown with the Eagles did to this Steelers secondary. That's my key, is to say, let's keep these guys off the field. Same recipe the Steelers had against the Panthers, I think, would work very well in this game. Control the clock, stop the run, keep your offense out on the field, because to me, that serves almost as a de facto defense. That's my key, Ike.
Yeah. It's Josh. For me, it's Josh Jacobs. You make Derek Carr throw the ball, you have a nice little shot winning the ball game, considering that you take care of Davante Adams and know where he's at all times. But the key to this offense, how they've been winning ball games, has been through the legs of a Josh Jacobs. I mean, he's been playing out of his mind, contract year, of course, on running the ball. So you hold Josh Jacobs, you have a clear shot of winning the ball game against the Raiders. You don't hold Josh Jacobs, then Pittsburgh Steelers will take an L. So for me, it's only one person, and his name is Josh Jacobs.
I'm with you, Ike. I'm with you. Score prediction for me, Ike, coming off what happened with Harris. And I'm going to ask you a question about that in just a second, but I'm taking the Steelers. You get some redemption, and you honor a Steelers legend. I'm going to take the Steelers on Christmas Eve, 24-20 against the Raiders at home, Acrisure Stadium, Pittsburgh, PA. Give me the Steelers against the Raiders. There's no way I'm picking against the Steelers this week, just considering the news with Franco Harris. I think that plays a role on Christmas Eve.
I'll go by 7. I'll go 17-10 Pittsburgh Steelers.
When you're in the locker room pregame, Ike, are there coaches that bring this up and say, like, is this something that is discussed among the players pregame speech, locker room at all? That's what I wanted to ask you about.
No, not at all. When stuff like this happen, you kind of players be in their own little world, and you don't want to mess up players' rituals before the game, routines before the games. Coaches says nothing to players before the game at all. Players just kind of zone out right before the game. But right before you get on the field, as soon as you get done with the Star Spangled Banner on defense, we'll come together and be like, let's do this for so and so, you know. But before when you're in that locker room, everybody be in their own little world, so you don't even bother nobody, you know. But as soon as we get on the field, when we huddle up and we hit the field together, that's when somebody will say something on the situation. That's what's going on.
Gotcha. All right, Ike, we got to keep this rolling. A lot to get to on today's show. Alex Highsmith snubbed from the Pro Bowl, Ike. I'm going to say it. I've been banging the drum saying he deserves to make it. One of 9 NFL players with at least 11 sacks this season. Highsmith has 11. That's tied for 7th in the league. He does need to get more. However, first in the league in forced fumbles off the edge. I know TJ Watt and Minkah Fitzpatrick both made the Pro Bowl. I know the Pro Bowl is more of a fan vote versus All-Pro is more based on merit. But Ike, I'm saying it. I'm saying Alex Highsmith snubbed. And I hope this serves as a little bit of fuel for him in the final weeks of the season. See if he can beef up those stats, continue what has been very good play for him off the edge.
Yeah, I just think Mark. Hold on, talking to my boss man, Omar. I just think Mark. He didn't have the name. That's all it was. Yeah. And when you talk about 7 out of sacks, if he was top 2, top 3, then of course he would definitely gotten that Pro Bowl. But he definitely stated his case. Off of the time that TJ Watt was out, and we talked about going on the left side, which is usually the left tackle, who is usually the best offensive lineman on that side, and for him to do what he did, to have 11 sacks and the season ain't even over with, says a lot about Alex. I call him Smitty, Alex Highsmith, and his development and growth as a professional coming off that edge. So 11 sacks ain't easy to do. I'm sure he probably finish off with 15. That's what it's looking like, depending on the TJ stay healthy. He plays on the other side. So, I don't think he got snubbed. I think this is his first year, really. This is his coming out party, so say. Being number 7 in the NFL, that says a lot when it comes down to sacks. Forced fumbles? Is he number 1?
Yeah, with 5.
5, number 1 in forced fumbles. So he's on the radar. I think this year he just got his name put on the radar. Next year, if he has the same season or even better, then he will probably get in the Pro Bowl. But 7 in sacks so far, it's not going to get you in, which is a lot for him. But he definitely got a case when it comes down to the offseason on some cheese. You know, y'all need to give me some cheese. You know, I'm Big Rat. I'm Big Mouse. I need some cheese when it comes down to the offseason. So even though he didn't get to the Pro Bowl, I don't think he got snubbed. But stating this case, though, y'all can set all them traps y'all want to. Y'all better give me my cheese. Y'all, the young kids call it a bag. We still call it cheese, man. Go ahead and get my cheese, my guac, my feta, my provolone, my cheddar, whatever you want to call it, whatever cheese you want to call it. If you want to put me out a wine tray and just cheese me out, I don't care. Alex Highsmith said, man, give me my cheese.
Yeah, full charcuterie board, some wine, like a block of cheese too, Ike. Big block.
Feel me? Give me, yes, sir.
Ike, final year of Highsmith's contract, 2023, his final year of his rookie deal. What the Steelers do with him going to be very interesting, because we saw this a few years ago with Bud Dupree as well. So we'll see how the Steelers handle all of that. But I don't think you're wrong in terms of his quality of play improves. Someone's going to pay him, whether it's the Steelers or another team in this league. Someone's going to pay Alex Highsmith.
Yeah, it does. The Steelers are going to pay him. He's going to get paid what he deserves to get paid. I'm thinking, just guesstimating. I'm thinking 6-7 a year. So far, 6-7 year deal, 4-year deal. Man, get some cheese, build his resume, come back on this third one, and hopefully get 10 to 12 a year. So yeah, I'm just guessing.
Speaking like
I
a
think,
GM, Mike.
you know.
All right, it's time for What Yinz Think, where our commenters weigh in. And Ike, these are homages to Franco Harris. So Travis Faulkner writes in, he says, got a Franco jersey for Christmas back in 1980 and had it on for my school picture. Travis, if you're able to, send us a picture of that. We'll love to see the vintage Franco Harris jersey. I thought that was pretty cool, Ike.
Okay.
And we've got one more too. Anthony Pugli says, love this play. Happy black and golden anniversary to Frenchie, Franco, Terry, Steelers fans, the Rooneys, and anyone else that had a contribution. He says, where were you 50 years ago when Franco caught the ball at Three River Stadium? Ike, I wasn't born. In our commenter, Anthony says he didn't actually get to see the play. He was only 5 years old. It wasn't on TV in Wilkinsburg, Pennsylvania, where he grew up. Because before that play, historically, the Steelers were one of the worst teams in all of the league. And again, that really flipped the script in how you think about the Steelers now. Like you said, Ike, earlier in the show, it really gave the franchise, the team, and the city hope.
Yeah, I mean, just thanks for all the first of all, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening to the Bleav in Steelers podcast. But thanks for everybody who keep coming up with these questions or just comments and What Yinz Think segment between Mark and I. Really appreciate y'all with that one. But yeah, man, I wasn't born at the time. I mean, but I've seen it multiple times over and over and over, especially coming from that Steelers facility, that Immaculate Reception. And the Rooneys and the Steeler Nation really do and really believe that Immaculate Reception has sparked the dynasty for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that's why this weekend will be a bittersweet weekend, not only for the Harris family, not only for the Steelers organization, but man, just for Steeler Nation. But we got so many people in Steeler Nation. I ain't even tripping. The love and support is always at 100.
Like, I got to give two shout outs here. My dad grew up in Cleveland, and I was texting him some. He says he remembers watching the Immaculate Reception live when it happened. And although my dad was a Browns fan, the best man at his wedding is a huge Steelers fan, their whole family. So shout out to the Duffy family as well to keep my dad in check and everything too. So I'm going to, as soon as we're done with today's show, I'm going to have to call my dad. I'm going to see him this weekend with Christmas and everything too. Just ask him about his memories of all of that too. Cause again, just before my time, Mike, just before my time.
Yeah. That was 8 years before my time. I wouldn't even thought about it yet.
Ike, week 16, we got to rip through some picks. Thursday night, Jags at Jets. It looks like Zach Wilson's going to give it a go. Who you got in Thursday night matchup tonight, which kicks off a weekend full of football?
Jack Sunshine been playing good. Trevor Lawrence been playing out his mind. He's been the best quarterback for the past, 6-7 weeks. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go with Sunshine all day. The running game with Travis Etienne, he been running crazy. These young studs, they got a receiver between Zay Jones. Zay Jones had a field day last week. Kirk has coming from Arizona. He's been that spark that he need to be for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And the defense has been playing not top tier defense, but optimistic defense. Whenever they need to play, they'll find up and they wind up getting the play. Give Sunshine back the ball and Sunshine to do what he needs to do, whether that's putting them in field goal position or scoring them to a touchdown. So, Mark, Trevor has been the hottest quarterback. He hasn't been the hottest topic because Purdy been the hottest topic coming from San Fran. But as far as like the hottest quarterback statistically the last couple of weeks, it's been Sunshine, a.k.a. Trevor Lawrence. So I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I love how you're giving the shout out Sunshine from Remember the Titans, Ike. The parallel. That's not lost on me, Ike. That's why I was laughing. Hilarious nickname. Jags have won 3 of 4. Jets have lost 4 of 5. To me, this is a momentum game. And I think that the Jags have a shot at stealing the AFC South because Ryan Tannehill now out for the rest of the season with the Titans. Give me the Jags on the road as well against a Jets team, Ike, that I just
Yep.
think is falling off at the wrong time of the season. So we'll go to
Yes.
our next. Go ahead, Ike.
No, you're right. I agree with you 100%, Mark.
All right, we'll get to Christmas Eve. Lots of games to get to. Falcons at Ravens. Ike, to me, I don't even know what to do with this. And the reason being, this was the game Lamar Jackson was targeted to be back. Well, he didn't practice on Wednesday. So Ravens are 7-point favorites, but is Lamar playing? Is Lamar not playing? I don't know. And until I know the answer to that game, Mike, it's hard for me to predict this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Falcons because I need the Falcons to win so the Pittsburgh Steelers can win and have opportunity to heighten their playoff odds. So I'm gonna rock for the Falcons on this one. Pittsburgh just need to take care of the Ravens on Saturday, and then the Falcons just need to take care of Pittsburgh need to take care of the Raiders on Saturday. The Falcons need to take care of the Ravens on Saturday as well. So I'm gonna rock with the Falcons.
All right, I see what you did there. If Lamar plays, I'll take the Ravens. If not, for me, that's a stay away. Bills and Bears. Ike, just the way that the Bears are playing, I love seeing Justin Fields run around. He does something every single week where I'm like, wow, it's the reason why I think he could be an MVP candidate next season because the Bears have a ton of picks. They also have a ton of salary cap space, but it's not going to happen until 2023. The Bills still trying to fight for playoff position in the AFC. Give me the Bills on the road, even as 8-point favorites.
Yeah, I got this as my upset. I got the Chicago Bears over the Bills. Something the Bills don't do well is stop the run. Something the Bears do well is run the ball, including Justin Fields. So you got Montgomery and company, and then you add Justin Fields and his legs. So I'm gonna take this as my upset. I love the Bills, but I think Justin Fields and company this will be my upset of the week. So I'm gonna go with the Chicago Bears on this one.
Ike, I think this is back-to-back weeks where your lawn guy has made a cameo appearance on the show.
Yeah.
We'll keep this rolling. We'll get through this quickly, Ike. Bengals and Patriots. Ike, another momentum game. I like the way the Bengals are playing. People seem to be healthy. T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, they were dealing with injuries earlier. Joe Mixon's back. Jamar Chase has looked good since his hip injury. And for me right now, if Lamar Jackson can't come back, I think the Bengals are in a good position to steal this division. I picked the Ravens to win it at the start of the season, but just, again, the momentum of both teams, I like what the Bengals are doing right now, so I will pick them against the Patriots.
The scariest team right now in football, other than the Detroit Lions, is the Cincinnati Bengals. Everybody's coming back healthy. Joe Cool always, it seems like he just wakes up around this time. He's the new Tom Brady when it comes down to being an assassin around December, January football. Chase just come off his little hip injury and he's haven't missed a beat. T. Higgins coming off his hamstring injury, and Joe gonna look for him, and Boyd sitting in the slot. And now you got P. Ron Angelo mixing. So when Mixon was down, P. Ron wound up carrying the load, and he just showed why they're a good 1-2 punch. So, and we got to start talking about their defense as well, because the Cincinnati defense, they always step up to the plate. Especially when it comes down to Patrick Mahomes and company, the Tampa Bay Bucks, they did what they needed to do to win a ball game. So they got a lot of guys on that defense we don't talk about. Of course, we always talk about the offense because it's high-powered. And the 3 receivers they do got, including, Cool Joe, him at the being the pilot of that airplane. But, yeah, right now, man, it just seems like the Cincinnati Bengals, regardless on what the score is in the first half, the second half, they always wake up. Either they putting more points on top of what they was doing in the first half, or they just coming back to beat your ass in the second half. It's one of the two things what they doing between December and January football. So I got the Cincinnati Bengals.
All right, Ike, a few more. Lions at Panthers. I think you're going with the Lions. For me,
You got that right.
In these last few weeks, where the Lions slip up, because it's not the way that the Lions are playing. It's the fact that they started 1-6 on the season. I'm zagging against everyone else because it's just hard to win week in and week out. I love the way that they're playing. I'm with you there. I just think you dig yourself such a deficit early on in the season. I'm just saying, one of these weeks, they're going to slip up.
Who the Lions playing?
Panthers.
Yeah, for sure they're going to beat the Panthers.
You would hope.
Forgetting that up. We keep forgetting that Jared Goff was in the Super Bowl, and he did outplay. Uh, he did outplay Tom Brady in that Super Bowl. He just came up on the short end of the stick, and now you're seeing exactly what he's doing. And with the Detroit Lions, you give that man two running backs, you give him a defense over the last 4 weeks, been balling, and we're always talking about having the attitude, and they definitely got the attitude from their head coach. And that's a tough, hard-nosed son of a gun. And that's exactly the mentality for the Detroit Lions. I keep saying, this one team you do not want to see in football if they make it to the playoffs, and that's them. Because they got I don't give a what attitude. To go 1-6, to win 6 out of your last 7, that's past hot. That's in fuego. When you're in fuego, coming from November to December, nobody won't play you because your confidence level is at all-time high. Teams finally getting their confidence. They 4 weeks late when they played the Detroit Lions because they didn't been in every scenario. To win 6 games out of 7, you had to put yourself in every scenario. You had to get blown. You had to come from the blowout. You had to win tight games, or you blowing somebody out. So one of the three, and they didn't done that twice. Doubled. So yeah, I'm going with Detroit Lions. I think the ship ain't done selling for them. That's the one team I'm telling people for the NFC you do not want to see if they make the playoffs.
I like the way you phrased that, Ike. Giants and Vikings. And Ike, this Vikings team, I tried to warn you 2 weeks ago when the Lions upset the Vikings. And then last week, they had the 33-point comeback against the Colts. Ike, I was getting back from the slopes. I was taking a nap between my ski sessions last weekend, and I flip it on, and it's like, how is this game in overtime? What is going on right now? The Cardiac Vikings, they do it yet again. But I will say this, it's entertaining to watch in the regular season. Come playoff time, if the Vikings make it to the NFC Championship game, to me, that's their ceiling. That's a successful season. I am not a believer come postseason with the Vikings. I'm just saying, having said all of this, Vikings and Giants, I think the Giants are desperate. The Giants need to win this game to keep pace in an NFC East. And you want to know what? The ground game with Saquon and company. Give me the Giants at least to cover the 4-point spread. I've convinced myself into it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Vikings. We always had that question mark about, you like that, don't you, Kirk Cousins? Mm-hmm. And coming back from 33, the largest deficit in NFL history, I damn sure like that, Kirk. You did your thing. That's 5 touchdowns. I love that. So, yeah, we talk about Saquon in the ground game with the New York Jets, but hell, we got to talk about the Minnesota Vikings and Dalvin Cook and their ground game. We saw what just happened on that wide receiver screen, giving to Dalvin Cook. He took that thing straight to the house, for overtime. So that's another player we don't talk about as much, but year in and year out, he just continued to go to Pro Bowls. He's the engine to that Minnesota Vikings, offense, regardless of how we like Justin Jefferson and company and Adam Thielen, and when Kirk Cousins plays as well or as hot as he's played, especially that last game, nothing starts without Dalvin Cook. So I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings on this one.
All right. Commanders at 49ers, Ike. I know you like both of these teams, just the style of play. The floor is yours.
Right. I mean, from a defense standpoint, they play the same style. 4-3s, smash mouth, get straight to you. I think the offense right now is just too much. I think Purdy he's playing Purdy right now. Purdy right now confidence is an all-time high, and I think his team is giving him that confidence. From the offensive line standpoint to the guys he have in the backfield to receiver position. And I think he understands his defense is rocking with him. He understands, man, I don't turn the ball over. We're going to win a lot of ball games because my defense at least will give me opportunities after opportunity. So Purdy is doing exactly what he needs to do. Y'all can call that game management quarterback. Well, hell, if you're managing the game and you win it and you beat some of the greats and some of the GOATs, that's exactly how you like it. He understands right now he's not at a position where they're going to give him the playbook and say, go win a ball game for us. He just understands when I need to run the ball. If I'm in a tight situation, I'll run and slide. Coach Shanahan will find multiple ways to give see him see the ball, or I just need to make the right read. As long as I don't put my team in a bad position, I'm good with my defense. So I'm gonna ride with Purdy right now. I'm gonna ride with Purdy. Purdy been playing pretty good so far.
I'm going to go with the Commanders to cover at least. It's a 7-point spread, and I think they might come out a little bit angry considering they should have beaten the Giants because the Terry McLaurin penalty where he wasn't lined up at the line of scrimmage after checking with the referee.
Right.
And then you could argue that the final play that they had offensively against the Giants, that it was pass interference. I'd argue that the Commanders should have won that game a week ago. I'd make the argument. So I think that they come out. I don't know that they outright beat the 49ers, but that 7-point spread, I do think that the Commanders will cover.
Now, don't get me wrong. You want to talk about ground game. Brian Robinson, since he came back from his shooting incident, he ain't been doing nothing but balling. That's all he been doing. And Taylor Heineke just keep making Coach Ron Rivera decision making between him and Carson Wentz easy. Man, I gotta play Heineke. I gotta play Taylor. So but he feels like he's just putting the team in a better situation to win. That's just what it is. You can just see the players just rally around Taylor right now. They like when Taylor is back there. And Coach Ron understands that again because he once played before. The defense been playing good for the Washington Commanders. They don't have to blitz, and the reason why they don't have to blitz, they sitting on about 4 first round defensive linemen. So when you got them kind of guys sitting around there, they're gonna get to the quarterback. They're gonna find a way. But I think it's just gonna come short. I think San Fran just on a mission. They're on a mission. I think they still had that salty taste from last year on what happened. So I think this year they just on a mission. And I think they defensive coordinator, this might be his last year, coordinate them. So I'm sure they want to send him out with a bang, and that's getting him a ring. Unless San Fran said, man, hold off, we'll just pay you like a head coach while you're over here. That might be the only reason he stay. But you can just tell on the defensive side, them boys playing for their DC and DeMarco Ryan. They playing for that young man. I mean, they playing out their body for that young man. They having fun. They're very aggressive. He looks like when he's talking in front of them, man, I'll take the fine. Y'all play reckless and let me take the fine. And it looks like it's making me reminisce because it's just like how we used to play ball back when I played. We used to tell each other that, hey, man, hit whoever you need to hit, how hard and wherever you need to hit them, and we'll all put the money in the pot and take the fine. We'll just split the fine. That's just what it is. And when you get to play like that, man, that's reckless football. That's reckless football. People don't want to see you with that reckless football. So I'm going to go with San Fran all day on this one.
You would do that with your Steelers teammates, Ike?
No, 100%. We'll put money in the pot. Put money. You got to put that out. You got to put that out on tape. Them boys ain't playing over there. So it makes other teams play outside their body, which they're not accustomed to. When I'm holding a receiver and holding them up, and James Harrison, saying, hold that MF up so I can knock him out while he's running to him. Yeah, it's them kind of stories. And this is real life. This is real life football. So yeah, that's how we played when I played.
Bless the soul of any of your opponents, Ike.
I know, right? I know.
Wow. Eagles, Cowboys, Ike, and whether Jalen Hurts plays is the looming question.
Yeah, I'm looking at TV. Coach said he's not going to play.
Okay.
Coach said Jalen isn't going to play.
Give me the Cowboys.
So what, Gardner?
If they've
Gardner Minshew was going to play?
Yeah. I mean, give me the Cowboys then, just given their defense. And it's like, are the Eagles going to lose any other games between now and the end of the regular season? And even if Hurts was playing, this would kind of be the game that you have circled on the calendar. Now, the Eagles have had a favorable schedule, no doubt about that. But
right.
I mean, I don't know what to expect from Gardner Minshew. We've seen he's almost got Gardner Minshew, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, Ike, but my interpretation is like a little bit of Ryan Fitzpatrick in him, where it's just like super high ceiling, but super low floor, and you don't know what you're going to get. That's just my interpretation.
Who they playing? Dallas. If Hurts ain't playing, I got Dallas. I mean, they just swapped it. Philly beat Cooper Rush in Dallas last time. Dak didn't play, so now they just swapping it out. That's how I'm looking at it. So I'm gonna take Dak. And Dallas still had the opportunity to win with a Jalen Hurts playing. So I'm gonna go ahead and take Dak and company with this one over the Eagles.
I think the Cowboys are going to be at home. Let me double check that as well, like just to be certain about that. Yeah, the Cowboys are at home for this one as well on Christmas Eve. So sound pick. I'll go with you there. A few more to get to. Packers at Dolphins. And Ike, one of those games where you go down to Miami this time of year and it's confusing because it's like everywhere else in the country is freezing cold. And it's at least decent down all the way in Miami. I'll go with the Dolphins as they continue to try to position themselves for the playoffs. Dolphins a 3.5-point favorite. Just don't like the way that the Packers have been playing this season. They did get some redemption in week 15, but I'll go with the Dolphins, Tua and company, and the two receivers they got on the outside.
Yeah, who's been hotter than a rookie receiver Watson for the past 4 games?
Oh,
the Green Bay Packers. Nobody, right? But like you said, Mark, the Miami Dolphins went into Buffalo, and I thought that cold weather was going to slow them down. And goddamn Waddle did the Waddle. Waddle caught that goddamn slant across the middle and took off like he was just coming out of spaceship. So, and Tyreek Hill off a press bump, man, I don't even know why you doing that. He ran him off that thing, throw the ball up. If I'm even, I'm leaving. That's exactly what Tyreek did. So they impressed me. Miami really did impress me going into the Buffalo Bills, even though they lost. That cold weather really didn't affect them like I thought it. And we ain't even talking about Raheem Mostert, their running back. I mean, the man went for 130-some yards. Damn, they had 100 the first half. So, Miami is really, really impressing me right now. So I'm gonna stick with Miami. Even though I like Watson and what he's been doing as a rookie, since he dropped that pass against Patrick Peterson against the Minnesota Vikings, he just took off after that. And you can tell that's his go-to when it comes down to receiver. Aaron Rodgers' go-to.
Ike, in that Dolphins game, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's like snow, football, must-watch TV.
Yeah, 100%. The Dolphins really surprised me when they went to Buffalo. Maybe they really did. I was thinking something totally different. But no, they surprised the heck out of me. They did a real good job. But I got them beating the Green Bay Packers. It's just hard to contain. It's hard to contain, Tyreek and Waddle. Just contain them. It's hard. It's hard. And Mike McDaniels, he's just finding ways. Right now, the only team who can really beat him is the San Francisco 49ers, and that's just off of hitting hard. We're gonna hit y'all hard, make y'all take 2 plays off, and go to the sideline, boy. And that's what San Fran doing. It ain't nobody really hitting like San Fran. So, yeah, I got the Miami Dolphins.
Bucks and Cardinals. I'll take the Bucks because I don't know who's lining up at quarterback.
Yeah, they say the third string quarterback Trace McSorley is starting for the Cardinals. So yeah, I'm gonna take the Bucks as well.
There you go. So I'll take the Bucks on the road as they try to keep pace in a very weak NFC South. Cardinals dealing with injuries at the quarterback position. Your third stringers in. How much can you really expect? So I'll take the Buccaneers in that one.
Yeah, I agree.
Then we got Chargers and Colts on Monday night, day after Christmas. Chargers on the road, 4.5-point favorite. The way that they've been playing and the Colts blowing a 33-point lead. Jonathan Taylor also on IR as well. I will go with the Chargers as, again, they try to keep pace with playoff positioning. It's like, who does it mean more for? And I'll take the Chargers in this one.
I mean, if you put Justin Herbert in the 2-minute offense the whole game, he's going to wind up smoking you. That's what Justin Herbert been doing. when they needed a score and the usual been under 2 minutes or 3 minute football, let's go. You know. So I'm gonna take Justin and company, Eckler and company, Keenan and company, Mike Williams and company. You know, I'm gonna take them boys on the offensive side of the LA Chargers. It's just hard to stop. It's hard to stop them boys. It really is. It's hard to stop them. So, yeah, I'm gonna get the Chargers. I like the growth and development as a quarterback of Justin Herbert. You know, now he got his squad back. Just how we were talking about Cincinnati and their receivers coming back and being healthy. Justin Herbert, he got his squad back with Mike and Keenan and company. He got his squad back. So yeah, that's what I got.
All right, T, you're the absolute best. I want to thank you, the Bleav Network, today's sponsor of the Bleav in Steelers show, betonline.ag. I want to thank the listeners and the viewers of the Bleav in Steelers show. Thanks for tuning in, making us a part of your day.
Sir.
Merry Christmas, happy holiday season to everyone out there, Ike. And if there's anything else I'm leaving out, please feel free to fill in.
Nah, big shout out to the Bleav in Steelers podcast. Big shout out to Mark, my co-host. Bro, love you to death. Say what's up to your family, mom and dad, lady,
Will do.
And everybody. Big shout out to everybody who always working behind the scenes for our show. Major props to betonline.ag for sticking with us since day one. What Yinz Think, that's one of our favorite segments. Keep asking us questions or giving us comments. We appreciate the involvement between us and our subscribers and viewers. Want to thank everybody for just tuning in. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's. Stay safe. And peace.
For Ike Taylor, I'm Mark Bergin. Thanks for watching the Bleav in Steelers show. We'll see you next week. Until then, take care and so long, everybody.
Peace.